So hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and in this video I will be covering problem C, that was min-max array transformation from educational round 134, that was a Div2. So let's start with the problem. Let's open up my drawing pad. So in the problem we have been given an array of size n, right, where n is around 10 to the power 5. So we have been given an array of size n. Let's call it array A. So we have been given an array A, A1, A2, A3, so on up to An, right? And then to every value Ai, we add some value Di. For example, to A1, we add some value D1. To A2, we add some value D2. To A3, we add some value D3, and so on to An, we add some value Dn, right? After doing this, we will get some new values. We will get A1 plus D1, we will get A2 plus D2, we will get A3 plus D3, and so on. We will get An plus Dn. Then we sort these values, right? Then we sort these new values, and we will get some new array, right? So we will get something like A2 plus D2, let's say that is the smallest value. Then let's say we have A1 plus D1, then let's say we have An plus Dn, right? So on, right? So after sorting these, we will get some new array, right? So after sorting this, we will get some new array, and we will call it array B. So I will call A2 plus D2 as B1, this as B2, this as B3, this as B3, and so on up to Bn, right? So I will take some array A. To every value Ai, I will add some value Di, right? I will get some new array. Then I will sort that new array, and I will call the array after sorting array B, right? So I have been given these two arrays. I have been given array A and I have been given array B, right? So I know array A and I know array B. Using these two arrays, I have to find for every value Di, right? Because as you've seen here, to every value Ai, we have added some value Di, right? So for every value Di, we need to find its minimum value. That is, we need to find Di min, and we need to find Di max, right? So for every Di value, we need to find the minimum Di value and the maximum Di value. So as you can see, the terminology is getting a little complicated, right? So instead of using the following terminology, I will use some real life examples so that you can understand it better, right? So I will use some real value examples. So let's say my array A is, let's say, 2, 3, and 5, right? And we have my new array B as, let's say, 7, 11, and 13, right? We must have added some value D1 to 2, right? We must have added some value D1 to 2 to get some value in B, right? So what is the minimum value that I could have added? I could have added the minimum value 5 to get 7, right? And similarly, I could have added a minimum value or the maximum value of 11 to get 13, right? That are the minimum value and the maximum value of D1. That are 5, 11. Similarly, for 3, I could have added 4 to get 7. Similarly, I could have added 10 to get 13. So these are the minimum and maximum value of D2. Similarly, for 5, I could have added 2 and I could have added 8, right? So if you look at this, you might say this is too simple, right? We can just use the min and max value and it will give us the value of D, right? But the following case is not true. The following thing is not true. For example, I will take some second example that will help you understand it better. That why won't doing this every time work? Why cannot we always do? Why cannot I say my Di is equal to, my Di min is equal to B of 0 minus Ai, and why I can't say my Di max is equal to just let's not call it B of 0, let's call this B1, right? So my Di max is equal to how much? This is Bn minus Ai. Why won't this always work, right? Because in the above example, you can see that the following case is working, right? But it won't work every time. Why won't it work every time? So I will give you an example for that. So let's say you have a value 3, 5. Sorry, let's say you have value A 3, 7, and you have your array B as 5, 9, right? Now, why cannot you say that your D1 is just 2, 6? Why won't this work, right? This won't work because if you say, let's say your D1 max is equal to 6, your D1 max is equal to 6. So if you add 6 to this, you will get 9. So you will get 9. But now what about 7, right? Because you made your 3 into 9. But if your 3 is 9, then where will 7 go, right? Because now 7 has no values. Because now you cannot convert 7 to anything, right? Because you have occupied your 9 with your A1. Now your A2, that is 7, has nowhere to go to, right? There is no more value here, right? So that is why always doing B1 minus AI and Bn minus AI won't work, right? So we have to do something smarter, right? So as you can see that if we start from the beginning, like that is if we start iterating from A1, right, it won't help us, right? So now let's try to iterate from the end, right? So the observation is that sum of the last values may be fixed. So iterating from the beginning, iterating from start will be useless, right? Because in this case 7 is fixed to 9 because there is no other value I can convert 7 to. So the 7 is fixed. The 7 is fixed to 9, right? So if you start from the starting, you will have no idea about fixed values, right? Because if you start iterating from A1, you will have no idea about the fixed values at the end, right? So that is why iterating from the start will be useless. So instead, iterate from the end and keep track of fixed values, right? So if we try to solve this same example by iterating from the end, now I will do that. So I have my array as 3, 7 and I have my array B as 5, 9, right? So how many values can I convert my 7 to? There is only one value, right? There is only one value. So my 7 is now fixed to 9, right? So my value D2 can be how much? It can be just 2, 2, right? Because there is no other value that I can change to. Similarly, so now these two are fixed. So I will ignore them going forward. Now, similarly, if you come to 3 now, there are no other values that I can convert 3 to, right? Because 9 is already fixed with 7, right? So now 3 can only convert to 5, right? So now my 3 is also fixed. So what are the values that my D1 can have? It can only have 2, 2, right? Because my 3 is fixed to 5. So now you have your D1 as 2, 2 and you have your D2 as also 2, 2, right? So you can see this is kind of making sense, right? So now we are able to like fix the values and we are able to get the values of D1 and D2 and so on, right? So I will take some more examples and I will try to like explain the logic more, right? So you can get it. So let's have some more examples. So one more example that you can have is 1, 4, 5, 11 and 7, 13, right? So now let's start from the ending, right? So if you start from 7, what are the values that you can have? You can either have 11 or you can either have a 13, right? So your value for D3 is how much? It is 4, 6. Similarly, if we start from 5, you can either have 11 or you can either have 13, right? So you will have how much? You will have 6, 8, right? But if you start from 1, now can you have 11 and 13? Can you have 11 and 13? The answer is no. Right? Because my 5 is having one of these values, right? My 5 will have either 11 or either 13. Similarly, my 7 will have either 11 or either 13, right? So both of these values will be used by 5 and 7. My 1 cannot use these values, right? So these are fixed. These are now fixed, right? Because either 11 or 13 will go to 5 or either 11 or 13 will go to 7. If my 1 uses, so let's try to prove this using contradiction. I have A, B, I have 1, 4, 5 and 11, I have 7 and 13, right? So let's say my 1 uses 11. Right? Then now I have my 5. Now 5 cannot go to 4, right? Because my DIs are positive. My 5 cannot go to 4. So my 5 has to go to 13. Now you again see 7 is left empty, right? The 7 has been left empty. Now there is nothing I can do about the 7, right? So that's why these two values are fixed, and now one has to use 4. So again my value here for D1 is how much? It is 3, 3, right? So now you are trying to see the sense, right? Whenever count of B values is equal to count of A values, they are fixed, right? So I will try to take some example from the problem, and we will try to apply our logic on that. Right? So now you kind of have a logic. So our solution is start iterating from the end. And whenever A count is equal to B count, values are fixed, and ignore them in future iterations. So let's have some example from the problem, and we can try to solve that. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40. We have my A array as 10, 20, 30, 40. And we have my B array as 22, 33, 33, and 55. Right? So we'll start iterating from the end, right? As you can see, the value 40 can only go to 55, right? The value 40 can only go to 55. So my A count is equal to how much? 1. And my B count is equal to how much? It is also equal to 1, right? So value here is fixed, right? So my D4 value is here how much? 15, 15, right? As my A count is equal to B count, these are fixed values, right? So if any other value tries to take this value, my 40 will be left behind, right? So these values are fixed, and they will just they will be fixed with each other, right? So these values are fixed now. I won't use them going forward. Similarly, now we have 30, right? So if you think about the 30, I have two values, this 33 and this 33, right? So these are not fixed anymore, right? Because my A count here is equal to 1 and my B count here is equal to 2, right? So these are not fixed anymore, right? So I can use either of them. So if I go to this 33, my value is 3, and if I go to this, it is again 3, right? So my value here is 3, 3. So if I go to 20, right? If I think about this, I can go to 22, I can go to 33, or I can go to 33, right? Because my A count is here equal to how much? It is 2, and my B count is here how much? It is 3, right? I have 2 A values and I have 3 B values. So I can go here to 2, 11, right? Now here I have my 10, I can go to 22, 33, and 33. So I have value as 12, 23, right? So now I have again A count equal to 3, right? And my B count again equal to 3. So now these 3 are again fixed. Right? So I have my answer is 12, 23, and 2, 11, 3, 3, and 15, 15. So if you see the answer here, I think that should be it. So 12, 23, 2, 13, 3, 3, 15, 15, right? So that is the logic. You start iterating from the end, and whenever A count is equal to B count, the values are fixed and you ignore them. Otherwise, you can use them in the future, right? So that is the solution. And if you guys want to see the code for this, here's the code. So I have my 4 vectors. One is vector A, one is vector B, and my answer vectors, that is dmin and dmax. Then I start iterating. Then I will take input for my A array and B array. I will keep a list, right? This will store my B values. Right? I will keep my B pointer then I will start iterating from the end, right? I will start iterating from n-1 and I is greater than or equal to 0, right? So while my b pointer is more than 0, so what I'm doing is, if I have, let's say, again I will take the same example, 40, 33, 33, and let's say I have 55, right? So I will keep a b pointer, right? And I will start iterating from the end, right? So I have I am keeping a list, right? I am keeping a list, right? So currently I am at the falling value, right? And my b pointer is at the end, right? Up until the point, these values, right? Up until the point, my value of b, comma b pointer is greater than or equal to a of I. I will keep inserting the values into list. I will keep inserting the values into list, right? For example, for this index, my list will have how much? My list will have value 55. So that is here. So my list will have value 55, right? Then my daemon is how much? My daemon is ls.back minus ai, right? So the values I have in my list, I will find my daemon as the back element of the list, right? Element at the last. So that is list.back minus my current value ai, that is 44 now, right? Minus ai, and my dmax as my list.front minus ai, right? Currently my ai is how much? My ai is 40. My list only has one element, that is 55. So this is 55, this is 55, right? So my daemon and dmax both are equal to 15, right? So after using this, I will see my a count and I will see my b count. You can also use right? You can also like keep a count, right? So I'm using indexes to count elements, right? So my a count is how much? My a count is equal to n minus i, right? So I have used how much elements? That is, I have used one element so far, right? Similarly, I will find b count. So that will also be n minus b pointer or something like that, right? So if I see b pointer, I have again used one element, right? So my a count is equal to b count, right? So these are fixed, so I have to ignore these. So to ignore this, I will just empty my list, right? Because if I empty my list, I won't think about this anymore, right? So whenever my a count is equal to b count, I will have to fix the values or ignore them, fixed or ignore. So I can just empty my list. So that is why whenever my a used is equal to b used, I will just clear my list. I am using b pointer plus 1 here. That's because of just like one-off errors, right? Because I am using b pointer minus 1, so my pointer will be always one index to the left, right? The formula is really simple. You can find it however you like, right? I'm using my own formulas, right? So that's just up to you. That is just implementation, how you find a count or b count. So now we know for every index values of dmin and dmax, and at the end you can just print out these values and that will be your answer. Yeah, so that was it for the problem, and if you guys have a doubt, feel free to join my Discord server or leave your queries in the comments and I will be more than happy to answer your doubts. See you guys in the next video. Also, if you guys don't know, Continue Newton School is offering a full stack development course. The course is over 6 months long and it is totally based on pay after placement model, and you don't have to pay anything. There is zero hidden fees, there is zero upfront fees, and they are granting you a minimum package of rupees 5 lakhs, and the average package is rupees 7 lakhs and the highest package is over rupees 26 lakhs. So it is a very great opportunity. Also, all their mentors are from top MNCs like Google, Flipkart, Zomato, etc. Also, they will get you placed into the top MNCs as well, like Google, Flipkart, Zomato. So you can learn from the mentors that are working at those companies and you can land a job at those companies yourselves. Also, you don't need to worry if you guys think कि यार मेरे को भी coding आती नहीं है, मैं भी fresher, मेरे को बिल्कुल नहीं आता है. The course is over 6 months long and they will teach you from scratch. So you can still sign up for this, and if you guys are looking for a career in the tech field, this is a very great head start that you should sign up for. And if you want to land a job, I highly vouch for this. And if you guys want to sign up, there will be a link down below and you can go and sign up from there. So yeah, be sure to sign up for this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.